Good day everyone. My name is Muhajirin A. Gandawali, Bachelor of Science Information Technology. My topic is analysis of Cory Aquino's speech. Cory Aquino's speech was an important event in the political diplomatic history of country because it has arguably cemented the legitimacy of EDSA government in the international arena. The speech talks of her family background, especially her relationship with her late husband Ninoy Aquino. It is well known that it was Ninoy who served as the real leading figure of the opposition at the time needed. Ninoy's eloquence and charisma could very well compete with that of Marcos. In her speech, Cory talked at a length about Ninoy's toil and suffering at the hands of dictatorship that he resisted. Even when she proceeded talking about her new government, she still went back to Ninoy's legacy and lessons. Moreover, her attribution to the revolu- of the her attribution of the revolution to Ninoy's death demonstrates not only Cory's personal perception on the revolution, but since she was the president, it also represents that what the dominant discourse was at the point in our history. The ideology of the principle of the new democratic government can also be seen in the same speech. Aquino was able to draw the sharp contrast between her government and predecessor by expressing her commitment to a democratic constitution drafted by an independent commission. She claimed that such an adheres to the rights and liberty of the Filipino people. Cory also hoisted herself as the reconciliatory agent of after more 2 decades of a polarizing authorization politics. Cory claimed that her main approach to this problem was through peace and not through the sword of war. Despite Cory's effort to hoist herself as the exact opposite of Marcos, her speech still revealed certain parallelism between her and Marcos' government. This is seen on terms of continuing the alliance between the Philippines and the United States despite the known affinity between the said word superpower and Marcos. The Aquino regime as seen in Cory's acceptance of the invitation to address the U.S. Congress and the content of the speech, decided to build and continue with the alliance between the Philippines and United States and effectively implemented an essentially similar foreign policy to that one of the dictatorship. The next topic is analysis of the political caricature during the American period. The transition from the Spanish colonial period to the American occupation period demonstrated different strands of changes and shifts in culture, society, politics. The American drastically introduced democracy to the nascent nation and the consequences were far from the idea. Aside from this, it was also during the American period that Filipinos were introduced to the different manifestations of modernity like healthcare, modern transportation, and media. This ushered in a more open and freer press. The post-independence and the post-Filipino-American period in the Philippines were experienced differently by Filipinos coming from different classes. The upper Principalia class experienced economic prosperity with the opening up of the Philippine economy to the United States, but the majority of the poor Filipino remained poor, desperate, and victims of the state repression. The selected cartoons illustrate not only the opinion of the certain media outfits about Philippine society during American period, but also paint a broad image of society and politics under United States in an arena of politics. For example, we were the price that Filipino paid for the democracy modeled after the Americans. First, it seems that the Filipino politicians at the time did not understand well enough the essence of democracy and accompanying democratic institutions and processes. This can be seen in the rising dynastic politics in Tondo as depicted in the cartoon published by The Independent. Patronage also became influential and powerful, not only between clients and patrons, but also between the newly formed political parties composed of elite and the United States. This was depicted in the cartoon where the United States, represented by Uncle Sam, provided dole outs for members of the Federalista while the Nacionalista politicians looked on and waited for their turn. Thus, essence of competing political parties to enforce choices among the voters was cancelled out. The problem continues up to the present where politicians transfer from one party to another depending on which party was powerful in specific period of time. The transition from Catholic-centered Spanish-Filipino society to an imperial American assimilated one and its complications were also depicted in cartoons. One example is the unprecedented increase of motorized vehicles in the city. Automobiles became a popular mode of transportation in the city and led to the emergence of taxis. However, the laws and policy implemented was mediocre. This resulted in increasing colorum and unlicensed vehicles transporting people around the city. The rules governing the issuance of driver's license was lost in traffic police. This resulted in the increasing colorum and unlicensed vehicle transporting people around the city. The rules governing the issuance of driver's license was lost and traffic police could not be bothered by rampant violation of traffic rules. This is direct consequences of the drastic urbanization of the Philippine society. Another example